everyone, I'm getting ready to make a new batch of soap. I'm actually really excited about this because for the first time I'm going to attempt to make cupcake soap. I'm going to be using a new fragrance by Indigo Fragrance called Carmel Latte, and we'll see how it turns out. I am currently right now getting ready to melt down my oils, and I'm going to measure out my lye. I'll be back. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and melt down my butters, and I'm going to get my oils to 100 degrees, and right here I have my lye crystals in my water. I'm going to take it outside because with lye you always have to use precautions. Goggles, well ventilated area, gloves, a mask. Also have on hand white vinegar. Since lye is caustic, white vinegar is its neutralizer. I'm going to go ahead and bring this outside and mix up the lye while my oils are getting heated up. Alright, I'm back from outside. I mixed up my lye and already added the water-soluble titanium dioxide. For some reason, I like the base of my soap color to be white. I feel that it brings out the other colors more if the base of the soap is white. Because sometimes, especially when you use olive oil, if you don't base your soap white and use different colors, the olive oil can kind of miscue the coloring. So I always just go ahead and put in my water-soluble titanium dioxide in my lye solution and mix it with my oils, and then I bring in other colorant, and it usually holds up very well, and it usually brings out more vibrant colors. So we're just waiting for these to melt down and for my lye water to cool. We want them to be 5 degrees apart from each other, around about at 100 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and continue this process and we'll be back. Right now I'm just waiting for my oils to cool down. They're at about 120 degrees. I need them to be at 100. And I placed my lye water in a cool, tepid bath only because that was at 145 degrees. I also need to get that down to 100 degrees. And I didn't want my oils cooling off faster, so I wanted to help the process of the lye cool down a little bit. So I put it in a cool bath. I didn't use an ice bath because I've noticed lately with the ice bath, the lye then cools way too quickly. So I need them both about 100 degrees. I'm just going to wait for them to do that, and then we're going to mix it together and bring it up to trace. Everything has cooled down. My lye water is at 100 degrees and so are my oils. So I'm going to go ahead and mix them together, bring it up to trace. I like to mix sodium lactate into my soap. It makes for a harder bar. And this one is going to have a little bit of vitamin E in it for a little bit of skin nourishing. This batch of soap that I'm making into cupcakes, and hopefully they look like cupcakes, is going to be called Straight to the Hips. Again, I'm using Carmel Latte fragrance oil from Indigo Fragrance, and we're going to mix everything together and bring it up to trace, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay everyone, I went ahead and got my base up to trace, and then I added my Carmel Latte, and if you can see here it is kind of a little yellowish, like a cake batter. But when I added the Carmel Latte, it got a little bit darker on me. The scent smells great. It's not setting up my soap. And I'm actually happy with this little bit of color change because of the fact that it's going to be the base of my cupcakes. And then I went ahead and added the Tutti Frutti pink oxide, and that didn't change the color at all. So to my actual base white of the soap, it changed it to a little tan color, the Carmel Latte did, which is fine because that's what I'm using as my base. So it's going to look more like a vanilla cupcake. And then I'm going to be using the pink on top. I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up in the molds, and then we'll show you when it's done. So here's the bottom of my cupcakes in the mold. Now what I have to do is, in order to pipe this out, I have my piping bag right there and all ready to go. I have to get this icing part really thick, so it has to sit for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and just let this sit, and then we're going to go ahead and pipe the icing on top, and we'll see how that looks when it's all said and done. Okay, so everything's in the mold. My piping skills need some work, but for my first try, I am somewhat pleased. I went ahead and used 3/4 of an ounce for the base of the cupcake, which was that tannish color you saw earlier. I used a different oil on top. I had a little bit left over of Christmas cookie, so I went and used that on top. It smells delicious. I wish that you could smell what I'm smelling right now. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for 24 hours and see how this turns out in the morning.